Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to our presentation today on superfoods. My name's Claire. I'm one of the registered dietitians at the Cancer Center, and Greta will be joining us in a little bit. She's also a registered dietitian at the Cancer Center. We thought we would talk today about a topic that we see pretty often and that we think is very fun, and that is superfoods. So we'll talk for about 20 minutes or so on some of the science behind diet recommendations for cancer and around these superfoods. And then we'll transition into a food demonstration and show you some tasty recipes that you can try at home. Let's get started. So we first just wanted to talk about a general overview of cancer risk reduction. Here on this slide is the American Institute for Cancer Research, their general guidelines for cancer risk reduction. And the AICR's mission is to study food, nutrition, lifestyle, body weight, exercise, and how that impacts cancer risk and risk for recurrence or progression. Here is a list of their 10 recommendations. 1, be a healthy weight. 2, be physically active, and what they consider goal physical activity is about 150 minutes a week, or that could be about 30 minutes 5 times a week. It could be broken into shorter segments, and it can be any type of exercise. So it could be aerobic if you like to walk or jog. It could be strength training. It could be stretching, yoga, tai chi. It could be anything that you'd like. 3rd is to eat a diet rich in whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and beans. So you can see these are mostly plant foods. And trying to limit consumption of fast food and other processed foods that are higher in fat, starches, and sugars. Trying to limit our consumption of red and processed meats, limiting consumption of sugar-sweetened drinks, limiting alcohol consumption. So if you do drink, the recommendation is to drink no more than 1 beverage a day for women, no more than 2 beverages a day for men. Do not use supplements for cancer prevention. Although supplements can be beneficial under certain circumstances, we do recommend trying to focus on a whole food approach when you're looking in the context of cancer prevention. A lot of research has been shown that you get the most benefit from whole foods versus from your supplements. For mothers, breastfeed your baby if you can. A lot of research with benefits to both the mother and to the baby. And lastly, after a cancer diagnosis, follow these recommendations if you can. And what we mean by that is that everybody's cancer diagnosis and everybody's treatment is very different. So what may be feasible and good for one person may not be feasible and good for another person. For example, if you are going through chemotherapy and you don't tolerate a high fiber diet well, or if you just got out of surgery and you have limitations on exercise. So these are just a few examples where you just want to work with a healthcare professional to find out what's best for you. So one of these recommendations was to choose mostly plant foods. So when we're thinking about plants, we're thinking about things like beans and legumes, things like fruits and vegetables, and whole grains. So the goal is to have about 2/3 of your plate, or a majority of the foods that you're eating in your diet, to come from plants. And this is the cornerstone for almost every healthy diet recommendation. So it can help reduce risk of cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and Alzheimer's disease. So eating plant-based can help achieve 2 goals. So 1, you'll be increasing your intake of all these vitamins and phytonutrients, fiber, prebiotics, which are the food for your gut bacteria, and these health-promoting phytochemicals. And Greta's going to be touching on what is a phytochemical and the benefits of that. While you'll be increasing these intake of plant-based foods, you're going to be naturally decreasing your intake of foods such as animal fats, animal proteins, salts, sugars, additives, and preservatives. So in other words, by filling your plate with plant-based foods, you're going to be crowding out some of these foods that we consider more cancer promoters. And I do want to stress that the health benefits of eating plant-based comes from eating a variety of these foods in a whole eating pattern versus actually one particular food. So this presentation today is on superfoods, so it's on specific types of foods. And you may notice that in the grocery store, you see a lot of these foods marketed as a superfood. And it is a very big buzzword, and I just do want to emphasize that this is a marketing term. So something I want everyone to know is that you can buy superfoods in almost every local supermarket, and they are accessible to everyone, and oftentimes they won't even have the word superfood on the label. So what is a superfood? We can define superfood as a non-medical term popularized in the media to refer to foods that can have health-promoting properties such as reducing one's risk of disease or improving any aspect of physical or emotional health. So these foods we consider them nutritional powerhouses. So they have tons of phytonutrients, vitamins, and other nutrients. So they are crucial for a healthy and long life. And we'll go over some of our favorites that we like to include in our diet daily.
Thanks, Claire. That was a great introduction to the topic of superfoods. So now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into phytonutrients. And what are they? So phyto is the Greek word for plant. So when you hear the word phytonutrient or phytochemical, it means plant compound. And they have functions in plants. They actually are the defense system of the plant. So they are the natural insecticide and sunscreen for the plant. They also give plants their flavor, color, and smell characteristics. They have actions in humans, and basically what they do for us is they promote our overall wellness. They're not actually considered necessary for the normal functioning of the human body, but they have many beneficial effects on our health. This chart exhibits the fact that the color of the plant is really going to show us the different phytonutrients and give us more information about the health benefits. So what you'll see is the rainbow, and you can see that the red color in plant is a phytonutrient that protects us from cancer risk primarily through antioxidant functions. We've got orange, yellow, green, white, green, blue, purple, and brown. So all of these different colors provide different health benefits. And so really the goal here when we're thinking about phytonutrients is eating a rainbow. The more variety and color that you can bring into your diet, the more of the phytonutrient benefits you will be able to take advantage of. We often tell our clients to include 4 or more colors a day as one way to really maximize their intake of these phytonutrients and get the full scope of the benefits. So that might look like a salad where it's not just light green, iceberg lettuce, but you've got your dark leafy greens, maybe you've got tomatoes, carrots, red onion, and you've got 4 colors right there in that salad. Another way to think about it is to really maximize your intake of phytonutrients is to try to include about 30 different plant foods a week in your diet. This might sound like a lot, but if you think about a breakfast that we commonly eat, such as oatmeal, we can, instead of taking plain oatmeal, we can take that oatmeal and get 1 plant food with the oats, but then we can add seeds like chia seeds, we can add blueberries, and we could add cinnamon. And we've got 4 different plant foods right there in one meal. So we're well on our way to the 30 different plant foods a week. So let's look a little bit more into phytonutrients and cancer. We know that phytonutrients are very important for our overall health, important for brain health, heart health, pretty much any health benefit or health condition, phytonutrients are going to be helpful. As far as cancer, scientists estimate that we may be able to reduce the risk of cancer by 30 to 40% worldwide with a healthy lifestyle, including a diet rich in phytonutrients. Some of the actions that phytonutrients have in terms of inhibiting cancer is they can inhibit the initiation and the promotion of cancer cells in our body, sort of stopping cancer cells in their tracks before they develop, spread. They can modulate gene expression to inhibit carcinogenesis, and they can regulate cell homeostasis, which means help keep our cells in check, help keep them healthy and prevent them from mutating or changing into a cancer cell. It's kind of interesting to look at how these phytonutrients work. There's various protective mechanisms that we potentially get from phytonutrients. They act as antioxidants to reduce the activity of cell-damaging free radicals. This is a concept that's a little hard to wrap your head around, but a good example is to think about if you have a car that's parked out at the beach and it's not painted. What's going to happen? Well, we're going to see rust happen over time. That is oxidation. And so these antioxidants prevent that oxidation from happening. And that happens in our body on a daily basis just with life. So these antioxidants can prevent that oxidation, which can cause damage to our cells. They suppress cancer development in cells. They interact with hormone receptors, so potentially inhibiting hormone-related cancers like breast cancer and prostate cancer. They can inhibit enzymes that can promote cancer development, and even enhance detoxification of cancer-causing chemicals. So this is through a process in our liver. We have special enzymes that help us to detoxify carcinogens, and these phytonutrients can actually help that process and help those enzymes work better and do their job more efficiently. So these phytonutrients are pretty amazing. And one of the really interesting things about where we are with phytonutrients in the science is that we've discovered about 25,000 phytochemicals. So when you think about one food like a blueberry or a tomato, there are many, many phytonutrients, phytochemicals in that food. And, we have 25,000 known, at least 500 of them are specifically potential modifiers in the cancer process, but they're still discovering phytochemicals and phytonutrients. So this story is not over yet. We still are learning more about these compounds and how they interact in our bodies. So a few examples are listed here. So we have things like capsaicinoids, which are in chili peppers, curcuminoids, which is the phytonutrient that's most active or potent in the spice turmeric, flavonoids, which are berries, herbs, vegetables. We have isoflavones in foods like soy, flaxseed, and barley. And then we have isothiocyanates, which are in our cruciferous vegetables and are really cancer prevention or risk reduction powerhouses. We have monoterpenes in citrus fruit, organosulfur compounds, which are in our allium vegetable family. So that's your onions, garlic, shallots, leeks. We also have phytonutrients in our beans and cereals. Those are saponins primarily. And then we have something called phytosterols, which you'll find in vegetable oils. And these are very beneficial for heart health and potentially can help with cholesterol management as well. So there's a lot going on in those fruits and vegetables, more than what it looks like on the surface. So just to talk a little bit more about these bioactive food components, just to reiterate some of the benefits, besides the hormonal regulation, we also are going to see things like helping to control inflammatory response. So we know that chronic inflammation in the body can be a driver for health conditions like cancer and heart disease and diabetes. And so these phytonutrients actually are anti-inflammatory, so they help keep the inflammation in our body in check. They can also help boost our immunity, which is our own internal cancer fighting system. So you can see here there's quite a few actions that these phytonutrients have. So as we've alluded to in some of the information that we've already talked about with phytonutrients, there's a synergy between these compounds. And what that means is that these phytonutrients work together synergistically in combination with each other and with the vitamins, the minerals, and the fiber that you get from these plant-based foods. It's not a 1 + 1 = 2 action when you have 2 phytonutrients in a food. It's a 1 + 1 = 5, or maybe it's 10. And so there's a real synergy where we can get a lot more benefit when we're getting these compounds from our foods, because our body can utilize them better, absorb them better, and they make each other more potent and more functional in our body. So this slide shows us a few of those superfood combinations where we really can get the food synergy, not just within one food, but when combining 2 foods. There's a lot of information on this slide, so it may be a good point to pause so you can read through and get more of the details. But I'll point out a few combinations. One would be tomatoes and avocado. And the reason that this is a superfood combination is because the lycopene, which is the red pigment in tomatoes, that's really a potent antioxidant, is a fat-soluble phytonutrient. So when you combine it with something like avocado, which is a great source of healthy fats, or maybe olive oil, you will absorb the lycopene better and you'll get more of the benefit, and it'll make that lycopene more potent and functional in your body. Another example is turmeric, which is the yellow spice that's often used in curry. It becomes much more potent and easier to absorb in your intestinal tract when it's combined with black pepper. It will become 1,000 times more potent when there's this little bit of black pepper combined at the same time. So think about these superfood combinations when you're putting your meals together so that you can really amp up the benefits of your diet.
So we just wanted to draw out a comparison between collagen and salmon to illustrate why eating your whole food can offer a lot more benefits. Here we have a collagen supplement, and collagen is a protein that is used to build connective tissue in the body. So it's a main component of our skin, bones, and cartilage. And this supplement here has been processed down to an amino acid mixture. So every scoop provides about 12 grams of protein. The downside is that the FDA does not review supplements for safety and for effectiveness before they're sold to consumers. So there's actually an unknown of how much protein the supplement actually contains and if the health benefits actually do what they claim. Salmon, on the other hand, will provide the same amount of collagen. It'll provide about 22 grams of protein per standard 3-ounce serving. It'll provide an abundance of omega-3 fatty acids, which are very anti-inflammatory, good for your brain health, among many other benefits. Very high in vitamins and minerals, very high in vitamin D. Your standard serving will provide 100% of the daily value for vitamin B12. It also provides selenium and antioxidants such as astaxanthin, which give it that red pigment. And then, like I said, the collagen. You can see you're getting a lot more benefits from eating the whole food versus just a supplement. So here's another comparison that we wanted to draw out, the acai powder versus actually eating whole fruit. So acai does have a range of phytochemicals that does contribute to very high antioxidant activity, so specifically these anthocyanins and polyphenols. The supplement only provides about 1 gram of fiber per serving because it's processed down to a powder. If you're looking at the whole fruit as an alternative, you're going to be getting a lot more fiber, you're going to be getting vitamin C, you're going to be getting these same antioxidants, polyphenols, and phytonutrients. And eating in the whole form with that fiber, will help with your gut health, it can help with blood sugar management, among many other benefits. So studies have also shown that eating mixed berries has an additive effect. So it's not a 1 + 1 = 2, it's a 1 + 1 = 5, because when you're eating the berries together, you're actually absorbing more of those phytochemicals and those phytonutrients when they're mixed together. So there are many plant-based superfood groups. We are going to highlight a few and then dive into specific superfoods when we're doing our food demonstration. But we just wanted to list 15 of our favorites here. So first is our allium vegetables. So that is things like garlic and onions and shallots and leeks. We have our berries, cherries, pomegranates, purple grapes, citrus fruits, our cruciferous vegetables, so that includes things like cabbage and cauliflower and kale and broccoli, dark leafy green vegetables, fish, specifically cold water fish, and you may notice that this is not one of these more plant-based foods, but we did want to include it just because it is such a nutrient-dense food and we consider a superfood. Herbs and spices, beans and legumes, mushrooms, nuts, extra virgin olive oil, orange vegetables and fruits, seeds, tea, specifically green and white tea, tomatoes and tomato products, and lastly, whole grains. All right, so we're gonna start our food demonstration now. We're gonna make 2 recipes for you. One of them is gonna be our rainbow smoothie, and then we also have our lentil bruschetta salad. You'll be able to find these recipes in the description below the video. So you'll have these 2 recipes along with a few other superfood recipes. So let's get started on the rainbow smoothie. So we're gonna dive into each ingredient and the benefits of these ingredients as we're putting them in the blender. So our first ingredient is our power greens, our mixed greens. And this is a blend of baby kale, baby chard, and baby spinach.
So this is great because when you have a mix of greens, you're going to see, kind of getting the benefit of all the different superfood greens in one smoothie. Another way to think about this is, the spinach is the leafy greens, and the kale is leafy greens as well, but you're also getting a cruciferous vegetable with the kale. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck when you're doing a mix of greens, or if you do smoothies regularly, you can rotate your greens.
And the greens will be providing you with a lot of fiber, which is good for your gut health, a lot of vitamin C, folate, vitamin K, a lot of great things in these greens.
Potentially some iron, some calcium as well.
Yeah. So that is the first ingredient. We added 2 cups, and then we're gonna add some frozen berries to our smoothie as well. So this is a mixed organic blend of strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. And we're gonna do a half a cup.
And that's great. So we had talked earlier about how there's the food synergy between the different foods, and one of them being mixed berries. So when you mix your berries, you're gonna get more benefit than, say, just having one berry. And a lot of people ask us if frozen is as good as fresh. And so one of the things that we really like to point out is that when you use frozen foods like berries and vegetables, not necessarily your processed meals, but frozen fruits and vegetables, those vegetables and fruits are picked at their height of ripeness, and then they're frozen. So it really locks in the nutrients. So it's a great alternative to fresh. So along with all those phytonutrients like the anthocyanins and the polyphenols with the berries, we're also getting a lot of vitamin C and fiber. And specifically, berries are a great source of prebiotic fiber, which is fiber that's specifically great for your gut health because it feeds the good gut bacteria.
Definitely. And you can add any type of fruit to your smoothies, but we thought berries are always a great option to get all those healthy benefits. And adding mango can be another great fruit to add a little bit of sweetness and add another color. So like Greta mentioned earlier in the presentation, trying to aim for 4 plant colors a day can be very beneficial. So you can see we have our greens, we have red, purple, blue, and now our orange, which is high in that beta carotene. So really, really healthy. You got 4 or 5 colors already in this smoothie. So we're gonna add about half of a cup to this smoothie.
And the great thing about a smoothie recipe like this, the rainbow smoothie, is that the measurements don't have to be perfect. So you could certainly use the recipe that we provide and measure things out, and it's going to be a great recipe, but you can also eyeball things if that's more your style.
So far we have our greens, our fruit, and now we get to add some add-ons. So we decided we were gonna add some chia seeds and some flax seeds. Chia seeds and flax seeds are both really healthy because they contain omega-3 fatty acids, which have tons of health benefits in the body, very anti-inflammatory, could add a lot of fiber, and just overall, very good addition. So we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of the flax seed.
One of the things that we often talk to people about is if they're having issues with their digestion, they can use flax seeds or chia seeds to help that process. So for people that are dealing more with constipation, flax seeds can be a great way to help with constipation, a great food. Whereas chia seeds can be very good for if you're having the opposite problem of constipation. And one of the benefits to that is they're really rich in soluble fiber. So they're not just high in all those phytonutrients and omega-3s, but soluble fiber really helps to ease any kind of other digestive concerns that you might be dealing with.
Definitely. So it can actually help soften the stool if you're feeling constipated and help with looser bowel movements as well. So we also wanted to include cinnamon. So cinnamon is a great addition. It adds a really good sweetness to the smoothie. It's also very beneficial in controlling your blood sugars, among many other benefits. So you can just sprinkle this on.
With the rainbow smoothie, one of our goals is to add a lot of phytonutrients and really pump up the benefits of the smoothie. So sometimes when people make smoothies, they think about fruit and fruit juice, but we want to take it to another level and really think about getting the greens and the spices, and that's a way to make this a really superfood recipe.
Yeah, and you can do that to any dish that you have. That you can always look down and say, can I add a spice or something to really boost that phytonutrient content? So we're also going to be adding organic ground turmeric. And turmeric is very anti-inflammatory. It has that rich orange color, so great to put in a smoothie.
Yeah, and people don't think about putting it in a smoothie, right? A lot of times they're thinking about it in curry dishes and certain other types of cuisine, but you can add it to a smoothie. It's quite mild in flavor, and it really just pumps up the benefits.
Definitely. And then ginger, also really great, can help if you are having nausea. It acts as a prokinetic in the body, so very, very healthy for digestion, and I think really delicious in a smoothie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
Right. So we also have matcha. So we'll add half a teaspoon of this matcha powder.
So matcha is a form of green tea where you're actually you're drinking the whole leaf. So the leaf has been ground up into the tea that you can drink. And so it's a really concentrated source of the phytonutrients in green tea. You get a potent dose of the catechins when you're using matcha. And you can use regular brewed green tea in this recipe, but matcha is kind of fun. It adds kind of a depth of flavor to the smoothie. And so it's a great addition.
And on that food synergy handout that Greta went over before, we were talking a little bit about the benefits of pairing certain foods together to improve their absorption. And one thing that you can do to improve the benefits of green tea is by adding lemon. So lemon also, will help improve the absorption of a lot of vitamins and phytonutrients in the smoothie, but also can add a really refreshing and good flavor as well. So we're just going to squeeze in some of the juice. And then you can also add some of the peel as well. So you can go like this.
Yeah, so zesting is a great technique to really get some of the additional phytonutrients that you find in the peels of citrus fruit. So you'll see that bright yellow color, it's in the peel. So we add a little bit of that zest, going to get a more intense lemony flavor, and then also get additional phytonutrients there.
Definitely. And then to make your smoothie creamy, if you like that flavor profile, we really like using dates. It adds a really nice sweetness to a smoothie and also has tons of fiber in it. So we're going to add 1 pitted date as well.
And a little goes a long way. So it's giving us a little sweetness. We're not using any added sugar. We're using a little bit of that natural sweetness that comes from the date that's wrapped up with all the other good health benefits.
Avocado, also really great to add some creaminess to your smoothie and full of healthy fats. So we're going to add about 1/4. You could do half of an avocado.
And like we talked about earlier with the phytonutrients, a lot of them are fat soluble. So getting a healthy fat with your colorful vegetables and fruits at the same time is going to help your body absorb those beneficial compounds. So we're using avocado today. We could also use almond butter. We could add both if we wanted to really get a good dose of fat, especially for people that need more calories. So if you're struggling to gain weight, if you've lost a lot of weight and you need to put on some weight, adding more healthy fats could be one way to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point, because almond butter, if you were to use just 2 tablespoons of this in a smoothie, it would get you an extra 200 calories in your smoothie. So very, very good if you're looking for some energy-dense foods. So I think that's all of our ingredients, and we're gonna add some almond milk to blend it all together. And this one is an unsweetened original almond milk. Works great, but you could use any type of liquid that you'd like. You could use any other type of dairy milk or non-dairy milk, or coconut water is a good option too.
And one thing to think about with the plant-based milks that you can buy in the store is that some of them can have a lot of added sugar or a lot of additives and preservatives. So we like to look for things that are unsweetened. So that way you're just getting basically the nut milk without a lot of added sugar. We're getting the sweetness from the date and the cinnamon and the fruit, so we don't need that added sugar.
All right, so let's get blending.
That is going to be one delicious smoothie.
All right.
Okay. Wow. Look at that color. So we're left with one color, but you see how many colors went into the making of the smoothie. And one of the things we love about smoothies for when we're talking to our patients, particularly going through cancer treatment, is sometimes fiber is a little bit difficult on the digestive system. So blending can make it much easier to get all those nutrient-dense foods without having maybe some gas or bloating that goes along with digesting fiber at times. So you can blend it down a little farther if you need something that's really easy to digest, or you can keep it a little chunkier if you want more of that fiber and if you want to work your gut a little bit harder.
Definitely. Okay.
This looks great. So should we try it out? Yeah. I'm
Cheers.
excited. Cheers.
To phytonutrients.
All right.
Pretty good.
So delicious.
Pretty good.
Oh.
It's always fun to taste all the, I love tasting the ginger and that hint of cinnamon. Yeah. Really, really
I can
great
really
recipe.
taste the mango in this one. Can't taste the greens at all, which is great. So for people that are kind of a little bit shy of adding greens to their smoothie, think about using the baby greens because they're going to blend easier and they're going to have a more mild flavor. And the fruit is going to just really sweeten them up. So There'll be an easy way to start getting those greens into your day.
I say A+, 10 out of 10.
Delish. All right. So our second recipe is a quick lentil salad. We call it the 1-minute lentil salad, actually. And so what we're going to be using today are some pre-cooked lentils. And you could certainly cook your lentils from scratch for this recipe. But a lot of times, we talk to people and they're tired or they feel like they don't have enough time in their day to do food prep. So we're always looking for food hacks to make this a little bit easier to get these phytonutrient superfoods into your diet. So these pre-cooked lentils, they basically have a couple ingredients, lentils and some spices. And so they're great. So I like to call this a prepared food versus a processed food. We always wonder about what's okay to eat in a box, right? What is okay to get? And so when you can look at the ingredients, how do you really differentiate between a prepared or processed food? What do you look for when you're looking at the ingredients?
I always like to look at the ingredient list and, if it is a whole food, then it's a great already prepared product. So I think, Greta, you bring up a really good point that there is a difference between processed and already prepared foods. So this I definitely would say is a healthy, already prepared option because it uses whole ingredients versus processed foods may sometimes have a very, very long ingredient list, maybe with some ingredients that either you can't pronounce or you don't recognize. So that's usually something I look for.
Exactly. I always like to think, can I picture this ingredient in my head? If I can picture it in my head, I can picture my pantry or my refrigerator, then I consider that, a whole food, basically.
Definitely.
So these lentils are a great source of plant-based protein. We've got fiber, we've got B vitamins, iron. Anything else you think about with lentils?
I mean, just really high in fiber, really healthy for gut health. It's a good plant proteins, lower in fat than most proteins. So overall, really good superfood.
All around good food. Pretty much all your beans. One of our group of food is the bean and lentils group. So pretty much all beans are going to fit that category. We're using these lentils today, so I just basically dumped them in the bowl. Super simple. And then the second ingredient that I'm using is a pre-made bruschetta sauce. So what bruschetta is it's basically a tomato, olive oil, basil. There's usually either maybe some small pieces of onion or garlic in there. So it's a great mixture. And if you think about all of the superfoods we have here, we've got, the allium vegetables, the tomatoes, we've got the olive oil to really increase the absorption. And you can, again, make this yourself. You could chop up all the ingredients, add olive oil, add the basil. But if you are short on time and you want something quick, you could buy a prepared bruschetta sauce. Just look at the ingredients, make sure that everything is a whole food. And the simple recipe here is we just dump this in, and you could do half of the bruschetta container. We like to do all of it because it's so delicious. And then you just mix it up. It's probably less than a 1-minute recipe, but depending on how long you want to mix things, it might take a minute. And so right here you've got a great salad that's super nutrient dense, and you can do a lot of different things with this. So what are some of the ways that you like to eat this, Claire? I know you make this recipe.
I really love it. I'll put it over some greens, so over some kale that I'll massage with some lemon and use it as like a protein on top of a salad. You can also put it on top of fish. I've had a few patients who tell me that they love it on fish, and even just with a cracker. So we actually have a good whole grain cracker as well that we're gonna demo for you with this dip.
Yeah, so we're gonna have it with a cracker today. And one of our superfood groups was whole grains. And so one of the things that we want to think about is, what's the difference between a whole grain and a refined grain? And how do you find that on a label? So basically, a whole grain is going to be the grain which has all of its parts intact. So you've got the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. And the bran and the germ is really where all the fiber, where the phytonutrients, where the B vitamins live. When you take a whole grain and you process it into a refined grain, like a white cracker, a cereal, a bread, anything when you see the word enriched flour or just wheat flour, then you've got a refined grain, and you've really lost all of those superfood benefits of the whole grain. So one thing you can do is you can look at the ingredients. And if the first word says whole or sprouted when you're having a cracker, this one is actually a seed-based cracker, so it doesn't have much grain in it. It's mostly seeds, so we definitely know we have a really nutritious cracker here. But if you're buying a cracker that's grain-based, looking for something that has whole or sprouted as the first ingredient. That's what we look for, and we also look at the fiber content. So ideally finding things that have about 3 grams of fiber or more per serving. So we're gonna serve this up on some crackers. I'm gonna get one of these out.
And I think that there might be flax seeds in the cracker as well, right?
I think so. I think there's a variety of seeds, and I'm going to give you a cracker.
Thank you.
Let me get one for myself, and then I'll serve you some of this. This can be a super delicious snack.
Thank you.
You can keep in your refrigerator. It's going to last in your refrigerator for 4 to 5 days. And then, always looking for meal prep, batch cooking as ways to get more of these superfoods in your diet throughout the week.
It's delicious. I love it. And I think it takes 30 seconds.
Delicious. Yeah. Well, we hope you found this recipe demonstration helpful. Now we're going to go back to the main video to wrap things up. So now that we've shown you some fun ways to incorporate these superfoods in your diet, let's wrap it up. You may be asking, what can a healthy diet do for me? Well, we know it can reduce the risk of various chronic diseases, may reduce the risk of cancer and cancer progression, enhance the immune system, increase energy levels, and who doesn't want more energy, and improve overall quality of life. So the foundations of health are that there are really no magic bullets. Number one thing to think about doing is just starting to limit or avoid processed foods. That's going to take you very far, and focusing on a whole foods diet that emphasizes plant-based foods, including protein throughout the day, whether it's from a lean animal source or a plant source of protein. That helps us regulate our blood sugar, provide protein for muscles and immune system function. including plenty of healthy fats and whole grains, and overall really trying to get in a wide variety of foods. Including exercise and stress management techniques in your daily life will help round out a good diet, and being consistent with your practices of healthier habits to optimize wellness and function. So here are some resources that you can use to learn a little bit more about incorporating superfoods and diet for cancer risk reduction. Number one, the AICR, or American Institute for Cancer Research website, is a great place to go for information. It's aicr.org. Second, looking at some books. So a fun book about superfoods in terms of cancer risk reduction is a book called Foods to Fight Cancer. And then some cookbooks so that you can learn more recipes and more ideas for incorporating these superfoods into your daily life. Any book by Rebecca Katz, such as The Cancer Fighting Kitchen or The Longevity Kitchen or Clean Soups would be great. The Cancer Diet Cookbook by Dion DeTross, and the Cancer Wellness Cookbook by Kimberly Mathai. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found this presentation useful. Please visit our website for more information.